Yeah,
I
but
have a question for Destiny.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, because you're very good at debating, and I've always considered it one of my weak points. But I'm so curious if you were a woman. So take that as you will. I don't think you're in this hypothetical. I don't think you're as good at debating as you are now.
Wow.
Maybe it's
Okay,
because you're a woman.
you say that. Hold on. Wait a second.
hold on,
Have
hold
you
on.
dated anybody before?
Yes.
Okay.
Prove
I
it.
get this shit. I get this shit. Women will say shit to me where it's like, you're so good at debating. How do you remember all these like facts? How do you do in the middle of an argument? You're so rhetorically effective. Blah 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 blah. Okay. You get into an argument with a woman, and she'll remember every incorrect fucking thing you've ever done, every feeling you had. I'll be like, Melina, I didn't fucking do this shit. It's like, well, actually, on July 4th, after you told me this, you said that, and I know that you said that because I'm like, what the fuck? You can argue. It just depends
Okay,
on
but
what
let me
it just
finish
depends
the
on what you're
question.
passionate about.
So
Yeah.
you're-
Okay.
you're-
sorry.
you're
the
a
last
woman?
girl I dated was a lawyer.
So you're a
Imagine
woman
that.
and you're going on to Fresh and Fit. So that's the entire
Great
equation.
idea. I love it.
Okay, yeah. What's the strategy?
Just in general?
Yeah, because I've only been on it once. I was completely overwhelmed with the worldview of men's rights activists. I had never fully delved into it, and my mouth was just like on the floor the whole time because I could not believe what I was hearing. But I'm just curious, like, what would you say to them as a lady?
What's the ideal approach?
That's a really hard question.
Yeah.
There is there's you could do like 10 hours. There are women that have probably devoted their lives to this. Like off the top of my head, there's a couple issues where as a woman, it's very hard to be authoritative without being a hyper bitchy cunt. That's just how people will perceive you.
Yeah.
Whereas for a man, you can tear into somebody, you can be really hardcore and blah, blah, blah. But for a woman, it's hard to take the same type of tone without people viewing you in a certain light. It's also hard that people will judge you differently based on your appearance. So like you've heard of the term like pretty privilege, right?
Yeah.
So for women, it is a hardcore double-edged sword, where when you're pretty, you definitely get access to more than you would otherwise.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you're also gaslighting yourself for your entire life because you don't really know if any of your achievements are real or if just every guy around you trying to fuck you. Men get all of the advantages of pretty privilege, but none of the disadvantages. You'll never see a guy that's like reasonably attractive or very attractive and he does well in business and people are like, oh, he probably fucked his way to the top. Like that never happens, you know?
No.
So there are some synchronous parts between like men and women that I think make it hard for women to thrive in like very heavy debate environments without the woman like consciously being like, I'm going to throw aside like every social norm I've been programmed with and just say fuck it and go hard. Like I can excel in that environment and get a lot of respect for it. And there are communities that will cherish me for it. But for a woman, you're really kind of hanging yourself out there on their own.
Which I think is how
Yeah.
they designed the podcast. I mean, obviously.
No. That's not the podcast. That's the world.
Yeah. The world.
That's all of society. Yeah.
But then even more specifically, Fresh and Fit, they like outline like very specific rules that
For
the women
sure.
on there have to adhere to, or else they don't get credited or they get kicked off the podcast. Like the stuff that you said on Fresh and Fit, I think that if I came forward with the same points, they would be like, "You're done, get out,"
Maybe, yeah.
or they
It's-
would just silence me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you're a girl going into that environment, like I kind of like the approach that I think your friend who was here the other day took, which is like she seemed to have like 3 or 4 things she like wanted to get across, and then she kind of like pushed the conversation so that she was able to say those things, and then she clipped them for TikTok, and they did extremely well for her. And it's like that. It's fucking crazy, like that's how it fucking works. But I mean, it worked for her, and I think it makes sense because there's an extent to which you're just not going to be able to really catch much of a W when you enter into their arena by their rules. So you got to kind of like figure out what you want to say and just try to get it off.
There's a huge strategy that I employ that I'm very conscious of, where when I'm going into these platforms where it's going to be very adversarial, I try really hard to build bridges first. Like my first
Connect with them
appearance,
first?
yes,
Oh,
because
okay.
you have to start from a place of empathy and understanding, or else you're never going to be able to connect. If you watch my first appearance on Fresh and Fit, and maybe my second one too, my fans were so mad. They were like, "Why didn't you push back enough? Why didn't you give enough on this? Why did you let him get away with that?" I was like, "Because I just want them to make sure that they understand that I know where they're coming from." Once I've built that empathy and I'm kind of like in their circle, then I can start to push a little bit, and it won't feel like an outsider just like coming down on you. But as a man, I can get buy-in with other men easier than especially a pretty woman can.
Yeah, I mean
right?
that is that's just how you change people's minds about stuff. Is if they think that you're right there with them.
Yeah, and for a woman, that's just another barrier. It's possible, but you've got to do that much more work to like empathize with a normal guy.
Yeah.
because women say a lot of fucking stupid shit about dating
We're
and
so
sex.
stupid, dude.
Men
Well,
are dumb too, but like, oh my
if
god.
you were to watch Fresh and Fit, and if you were to conclude that the average woman is a fucking imbecile, it would be pretty reasonable because the average woman on that show is definitely retarded.
Well, Yes, but also they're in an environment where the retardation is heavily encouraged.
Oh, yeah,
because
yeah,
you got to
yeah.
consider you've got your two kings.
Setup too.
You've got the
Yeah.
men that are there that are the kings.
And you're in Miami.
And your 11 girls that are desperately looking for, like, I want to blow up on the show. I'm a really small content creator. I'm not a debate lord. Say what you will about Myron. Myron is very verbally adept, right? That guy can talk circles around 99% of people, even in political debate spheres. So I can't imagine being, and then you've got like the mysterious like pick-me's in the fucking crowd too that you don't know are going to come out and fucking
Dude.
attack you.
They have like these girls on there. The show is like mostly not even OnlyFans girls. Usually, it's like
Miami
It's
babes
probably like
and-
70% girls who might want to model at the side and really have no actual stake
Mhm.
in like profits at stake in being on Fresh and Fit. They just want to be seen.
Yeah.
And they kind of want
is
a girl.
wild.
They want a girl who's going to say something that it sounds like she's never been on the internet before,
Yeah.
so that they can just throw all these easy arguments at her and
Oh,
just
yeah?
baffle her.
Yo, we just hit 400,000 subscribers right here on the Clips channel. So if you want to help us out, click subscribe, get us to 500K. Yeah.